Oh my god. I don't know why. It's crazy to me that J.K. Rowling has turned into an enemy of left-wing people. Because back in the day, she used to be the most insufferable and annoying, obnoxious feminist on the entire fucking internet. And now, all of the same people hate her.
Oh dear, it's not a very good time to be Emma Watson, is it? From child actor to indie darling to big budget star, and finally to whiny, controversial and divisive activist, increasingly disconnected from reality and now publicly ridiculed by one of the biggest names in modern culture in what may go down as the most savage dressing down in history. Ever since she exploded onto the big screen with the Harry Potter franchise, her acting has carried her to the very cusp of A-level stardom before it all came to a shuddering halt in one of the most baffling acts of career self-sabotage outside of Rachel Zegler.
It's Hollywood, baby.
A woman who pinned her reputation, her public image, and her entire worldview on whatever happened to be most popular at the time, never considering that the cultural winds might change and what's popular today might not be popular tomorrow.
That's what I think happens with a lot of people, is that they simply have viewpoints on things based off of what's popular. And I think a lot of celebrities and content creators do the exact same thing. If it's popular to post memes about Donald Trump, then they'll do it. If it's popular to talk about how he's a Nazi, they'll do it. They're just NPCs.
So saddle up, dear viewer, grab your wizarding wands and whatever other stupid shit they use in Harry Potter, and let us examine the crash and burn of Emma Watson.
Yeah, I want to see this clip.
Emma Charlotte Duer Watson was born in Paris, France in 1990 to a pair of wealthy lawyers. So naturally she grew up with all the benefits of having wealthy parents, private schooling, tuition, multiple homes, and access to any clubs and interests she wanted to pursue.
Good for her.
One of which turned out to be acting.
Good spawn RNG. Some people open up their first chest in Fortnite and they get a golden scar. Other people open up their first chest in Fortnite and they get a dancing grenade. That's what happens.
Fuck me, she basically is Hermione Granger. Anyway, by 1999, a series of books about a boy wizard were turning out to be pretty popular, and work soon began on adapting them into a movie franchise. For this, they needed a bunch of child actors to play the three leads, including Hermione. Their searching soon led them to the Oxford Acting School where Watson was studying, and after no fewer than 8 auditions, she was finally cast in the role. And well...
And to be fair, I think the casting in Harry Potter, the original fucking series, was S-tier, A-list, amazing fucking actors. Because you've got to keep in mind that, like, even a lot of the, like, Alan Rickman, etc., like, these guys were, like, absolute top tier. Like Gary Oldman, I'm trying to think even some of the other ones that, like, were, like, really, really huge names. But, like, the casting in the original Harry Potter was fucking flawless.
All I can say about her early performances is you can tell that she was a theatre kid, that's for fucking sure.
I'm Hermione Granger. And you are?
I think that she played the role perfectly. I'm going to be totally honest. I think she did such a great job.
Piss taken aside though, for a 10-year-old that had never acted in a movie before, I guess she was fine.
Yeah, she
Daniel
did amazing.
Radcliffe was way better though. Anyway, you don't need me to tell you that the Harry Potter movies would go on to become a global phenomenon over the next several years, keeping Watson and her co-stars so busy that she literally didn't act in anything else until 2007, when she appeared in the TV movie Ballet Shoes, a film that landed mixed reviews and didn't do a whole lot for her career.
Yeah.
In public, the Harry Potter series was going from strength to strength, but behind the scenes, the cracks were starting to show. Watson and the others were burned out by the constant demands of filming and promotional tours, and when it came time to renegotiate her contract after the Goblet of Fire, she seriously considered leaving the franchise altogether.
Wow.
Still, she was eventually convinced to sign on again. It's amazing what a multi-million-dollar paycheck can do for a girl, isn't it? And by 2011...
Good for her. Completely deserved, by the way. All this is totally deserved.
series came to a close with
My
Deathly
opinion.
Hallows Part 2. For the first time in more than a decade, Watson was on her own. She'd basically grown up with Harry Potter, she'd never had a normal childhood or lived a normal life, and she likely never would. Keep that one in mind because it'll be important later. The question now was how to escape the long shadow of
I think this is what happens with a lot of child actors, and a great parallel to this is how many streamers do we know that grew up being streamers and they never did anything else, and so they're retarded and dysfunctional? Are we really supposed to believe that movie stars are going to be different? Fuck no. It's the same thing. Probably worse. Actually, it's for sure worse.
Hermione Granger and forge a career of her own. Her first few outings were mostly low-budget indie movies, everything from biopics like My Week with Marilyn to romantic dramas like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and even heist movies like Bling Ring. None of them were big hits, but they did at least prove that she could be more than a mildly annoying bookworm with crappy hair. 2014 saw her move into
I'm gonna be honest, like, she probably made she did. She made generational wealth with Harry Potter. If she wants to go back to just being French indie movies, I think that's great. Good for her. You know, like, you did your time in the spotlight. You did everything. You made your really, really good movie. It's like everybody said that about Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is in all of these shitty comedies. Then he makes like one really good movie, and then he goes right back to making shitty comedies. Oh, there it is. Frodo? Yeah.
budget filmmaking with Darren Aronofsky's Noah, followed up by low-budget thrillers Colonia and Regression.
Yeah, Elijah Wood. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Frodo. It was Frodo fucking Baggins. Yeah, I'm gonna be in this play that like 120 people are gonna see in some random European country. That's just what I'm gonna do. Because I'm Frodo fucking Baggins. That's the way it is. So I can respect this. I can. It's the same as streamers. You know, you look at somebody like, Chance, Soda Poppin'. This guy was like a fucking top 5, top 10 streamer for like 10 fucking years. Now he just logs on and he's like, guess what we're going to play today, guys? Darkest Dungeon for the 15th time. Have fun. And I got to respect that.
No matter the budget or the quality of the movie, one thing that stayed consistent were the positive reviews for Watson's acting. Now in her mid-20s and arguably at the peak of her career, she was developing a reputation as an eclectic and confident performer, willing to take on challenging roles and play against type, equally at home on the big or the small screen. An actor who wasn't just chasing fame and money, but taking on projects with actual artistic merit. Well done, Emma.
Ooh.
Her star was rising. She was rapidly becoming the new it girl of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Young, talented, intelligent, and sophisticated.
Very hot.
She could navigate interviews like a pro.
Yes.
She was a natural in front of the camera, and she held all the correct opinions on important political topics. When the Me Too movement kicked off, Emma was all over it like a fly on shit, making speeches.
And to be fair, at the beginning, the Me Too movement had a lot of validity, because there are a lot, and we know this with streaming, there are a lot of legitimate bad actors, and women, and actually especially just mainly women, and also men to a lesser extent, do experience a degree of sexual abuse and manipulation and control. And this always has been a case. I mean, it was a common joke back, like 15, probably not even 15, 10 years ago. But I agreed with some of the original Me Too stuff. I feel like it evolved to be, if a guy flirts with you, he needs to get like castigated on social media and get fired. Like, that's stupid. But like the Harvey Weinstein stuff, I'm totally on board with.
She's about feminism.
Terry Crews talked about it. Yeah, Terry Crews, great example. You've seen people make comments that are, and I do find that there's a very clear, obvious double standard where men can be sexualized without their consent, like Henry Cavill. But when it happens to a woman, it's somehow a problem. I think there is a very clear double standard, and I find that problematic. I think sexualizing people without their consent, in a way, like, I did just call her hot earlier, but I think that's kind of a fact, isn't it? But the point is that doing it in a way that's inappropriate or makes the person uncomfortable is obviously bad, doesn't matter who you're doing it to.
Establishing activism groups and even getting appointed to the UN as their...
By the way, like, have you ever noticed that I don't really comment on a lot of female streamers' appearances? And I never did like a female streamer, like, who's the hottest tier list? It's because this is an actual value that I have that I preach myself. I actually don't do it.
Goodwill ambassador for women.
I call the bitches fat, now I tell you that. There's some fat hoes out there.
Because truly, no one understands the plight of women in repressive third world regimes better than a multi-millionaire, privately educated theatre kid Hollywood actress that's never held a normal job in her entire life.
Really?
But more on that later. Pretty soon, Watson wasn't content just to make speeches in front of rooms full of elderly politicians who probably wished they were literally anywhere else. She was bringing her activism directly into the movies she starred in. The live-action Beauty and the Beast was rewritten at her request to make Belle into an inventor and engineer because...
Girls get it done.
Her political worldview could best be described as, I support current thing, also known as the Mark
Yeah, welcome to half of Hollywood.
Ruffalo technique.
Gay!
No matter the issue, no matter the complexity or the nuance, you could pretty much guarantee that Emma Watson would be right there in the thick of it, pushing whatever...
My favorite part about this was, do you remember whenever the Israel-Palestine stuff really started to kick off, and every celebrity didn't know which way to virtue signal? So they were all just taking shots in the dark, and it's like, oh, maybe this is the thing that I have to say to make people like me. Oh my god, that was the funniest fucking month of my life.
The progressive consensus happened to be at the time. She was less of a person with her own opinions and ideas, and more like a series of safe, politically correct talking points wrapped up in a flesh suit, all delivered
I do think that she became one of those people that's like, I am the person that has all the right opinions on issues, and I want to talk about all of these issues, and people should listen to me because I'm like virtuous and good. I do think that she definitely put out that image. I mean, he's being like you? No, it's different. With me, I'm right.
The kind of sneering upper-class British
That's the
disdain
difference.
that can only truly come from playing life on easy mode from the day she was born. But just like an overloaded cauldron filled
humble,
with the wrong ingredients, problems were a-brewing, dear viewer. Remember the lady who wrote all those wizarding books? Well, it turns out she'd become quite rich and famous over the years, and as a big raging progressive feminist herself, she and Emma were marching in lockstep on almost every issue. All except one.
Isn't it crazy that you can be on board with somebody with 9 out of 10 things, 19 out of 20 things, but the one thing that you're not on board with, it is a Russian nesting doll of purity tests that never ends.
Turns out that the wizarding lady had a few issues with the T part of LGBT and began voicing her concerns with increasing volume.
Yep.
And the reaction from the other side was, well, how can I put this?
Well, I don't even think that she has issues necessarily with trans people. It's just that she doesn't want them to use women's bathrooms. I don't think that she necessarily hates trans people, period. I mean, maybe she would be more negative to them now because of like how much like, you know, like weird shit that's happened. But and we need to make a pretty big distinction here, right? Because like for me, this is my viewpoint, okay? I don't give a fuck if you're trans or not. You want to dress up like a woman? You look like a chick? I'm going to say, hey, you know, like, I'm going to use she because you look like a girl. I don't know. Is that weird, right? I mean, fuck. And so, like, that's just the way my brain works. But I don't think they need to be using women's bathrooms. I don't think, I like, but that doesn't mean that you hate trans people. That's totally different. It's totally two totally different things. That's going to be the comments on the clip after somebody puts this on Twitter.
Now Emma was in a bit of a tricky spot because she'd made it her mission in life to support current thing, but now the wizarding lady who she owed her entire career and stardom to was openly attacking one of the most sacred parts of current thing. What to do? Should she stand firm beside her friend of 20 years and back her up? Should she maintain a dignified silence and refuse to get drawn into a fight that wasn't hers? Or
that's what she should have done. She just not comment on like this is the thing is like, you don't have to have an opinion on everything. You don't have to always know every issue in and out and be informed on it and have, you know, the correct, like, you don't have to do this. You can just say, like, I'm not really sure, like, I don't know, I'm not a politician, right? Yeah, I mean, says you. No, there are tons of things I don't have opinions on. Tons of stuff. Like, even today, like the government shutdown thing, I said, yeah, I haven't really looked into it. I'm not sure why it's happening. I don't know who's at fault. I don't know what it is. So that's from today. Today. This specific day. That's the first one I can think of.
She turn her back on the Wizarding Lady, hang her out to dry, and make increasingly passive-aggressive attacks against her. I think you can guess which one she chose. And the thing is, that all worked great when Emma seemed to be on the side of Current Thing and the Wizarding Lady definitely wasn't. The problem with Current Thing though is that eventually it tends to change, and by 2025 the cultural winds had shifted dramatically. Public opinion on the issue was changing, and suddenly the Wizarding Lady wasn't seen as the evil witch who had to be defeated anymore. Now people were beginning—
Well, she never was. It was an AstroTurf movement to begin with. The majority of people always supported J.K. Rowling's perspective on trans people and the way that they can be in women's spaces. Like the entire idea, because they call J.K. Rowling a TERF, right? Trans exclusionary radical feminist. There's nothing radical about not wanting men in the women's restroom. That's not radical. Nothing about that is radical. It's not weird. It's not crazy. That's the opinion that I would say probably, if you ask the whole world, probably 80 or 90% of the whole world thinks, if not higher.
To actually listen and even openly support her, and it began to occur to Emma that she might have backed the wrong horse on this one.
Fuck.
So what to do? Stand her ground and maintain her position even if it wasn't so popular anymore? Or do a complete about-face and pretend like she'd never disagreed with the Wizarding Lady in the first place? Well, the answer came on September the 24th on Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast.
See, this is a mistake. People that aren't used to doing long-form live content that won't be edited really need to be careful about doing long-form live content that won't be edited. There are a lot of examples of people that whenever they go live, they say things that they shouldn't say. It's better to just not do it.
Where Emma claimed that she loved the Wizarding Lady and supported her and would always be open to talking with her.
Bullshit!
Oh, really? That's interesting coming from someone who spent half a decade publicly shitting on her. Now, if you were feeling forgiving, you could probably write this whole thing off as a slightly cowardly but very pragmatic decision by someone who senses the political sands moving beneath her and doesn't want to get pulled down by them. And that might have been all she wrote, except this particular interview came to the attention of the Wizarding Lady, who until now had stayed pretty quiet on the topic of young Emma. Not anymore, as it turned out, when she decided to deliver—
Bro, she twit-longered the fuck out of her.
The mother of all dressing downs a couple of days later in a very lengthy Twitter post.
It's also, like, by the way, it's also a mistake to get in a argument on a text platform with a writer. Just generally. It's just a mistake.
Calling out Watson as a spineless grifter, a shameless opportunist, a fair-weather friend, and a spoiled, privileged brat that had never worked a day in her life and was only trying to cozy up to her again.
I'm going to read this paragraph. Like other people who have never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant to how ignorant she is. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's even been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her, quote, public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed-sex changing room at a council-run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state-run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service? To find herself sharing a prison cell with a male rapist who's identified into the woman's prison?
Because it was politically safe now.
No!
It gets even better. I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. Wow.
If now. Damn, bro, I've seen Mortal Kombat fatalities that were more forgiving than this. I've seen many a debate, many a scathing put-down and brutal rebuttal in my time, but never in all of my days have I witnessed a person publicly dismantled with such brutal finesse. It wasn't just a takedown, it was a full-scale verbal evisceration, and proof that if there's one group of people you really don't want to piss off in the online space, it's fucking writers. Especially
big surprise.
Billionaire writers with hundreds of millions of fans behind them who built their entire careers out of basically nothing. With that one post, Emma Watson's public persona was transformed from
she wasn't a known writer at all. She said that the reason why she used the J.K. Rowling instead of her full name is because she thought that boys would be more willing to read Harry Potter if they didn't know it was written by a woman. And you know what? I think she was right. I do. I think she was right.
Slightly preachy but relatively respected activist to the living personification of everything that people find so repellent about Hollywood actors. The smug, patronising, I know better than you attitude, the echo chamber mentality that comes from a life of privilege and luxury, the mindlessly predictable conformity masquerading as sophisticated intellectualism, and worst of all, the willingness to abandon any position the moment it becomes unpopular. She wasn't just
that's what's going to happen with all of them. And this is the reason why nobody should take celebrity or streamer opinions that seriously. Now, I do think that people that... So I only mean this for like mainstream celebrities and mainstream streamers. Like for me, Hassan, Destiny, Tectone, Frogan, I think that all of them believe what they're saying. I don't think this is a grift. I don't think, like, maybe to a degree it is, but I think in a general sense, this is actually what they think. But what you have to understand is that a lot of people use these social issues as accessories to boost their image on the internet. And whenever you're dealing with a person who does that, that's whenever you're going to get the unfairness. That's whenever you'll see the lies. You see what I'm saying here?
Opinionated and insufferable, she was a coward. And for someone who built their entire brand on fearlessly speaking truth to power, well, that was the most damaging revelation of all.
Well, a lot of people are afraid of going against the mob. And they should be. I mean, fuck. I mean, like, how many people have been getting killed recently? A lot. Like, I mean, shit's been heating up. So, big surprise. Nobody wants to go out and give a bunch of hot takes nowadays because they're afraid of getting fucking killed. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's not a surprise at all. One, I mean, I feel like, yeah, you've changed a lot since Trump's second presidency, but I've noticed. Honestly, I feel like I haven't. I feel like if you go back and you watch videos of me and McConnell in 2016 and Garrett in the Garrison in Warlords of Draenor, and then you look at me right now, you're going to see the same guy. I do. I think you can go. You go back. You look at the VODs. Just go look at the VODs. That's it. Actually, tone down a little. That's not true. Tone down a lot.
So what's next for Emma Watson? Can she possibly claw her way back from this? Well, her movie career basically ended 5 years ago when she pulled the plug on acting to focus on activism, so I don't really know if there's any momentum left behind her, even if she wanted to make a comeback.
That's another thing, too, is that a lot of... this is going to be increasingly more true with Hollywood movies, is that because the culture has become a lot more polarized, I think that actors and actresses that are holding very strong political opinions, even opinions that a lot of people agree with, okay.
She's 35 now.
Okay, guys. Even opinions people agree with, companies just don't want to deal with them. They don't want to deal with them because they don't want to accidentally alienate audiences.
which isn't exactly old, but it ain't exactly young either, and it's definitely not a good age to try to build your career back up after wasting your prime years in the wilderness. She's not likely to make much progress as an activist either now that her cover's been blown and she's willing to soften her position on the whole.
That's true. The moment that you soften your position or you change your position on any of these things is the moment that those people won't like you anymore. Like, you see this happen all the time. Companies don't want to deal with constant complaints for their actors. Yeah, exactly. Samuel L. Jackson got famous at 40. Do I have to say it? I guess I'll just say it. Women get judged differently because a lot of their value comes from their appearance in movies. That's why women earn Oscars at a lower age on average than men do. Somebody got to say it. It's the way it is.
Key issue, because if there's one thing that particular group of activists won't accept, it's betrayal. So it kind of feels like she's fucked either way. Emma Watson really is proof that if you stand for nothing, well, you'll fall for anything. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I think a lot of people are just tired of... I think they're tired of being talked down to by celebrities. I think that, I mean, we all know when this started. When did this start, guys? It started in COVID when they were doing these little sing-alongs in their bathroom crying. Yeah, everybody was so tired of this shit. And so now you have it happen and people are losing their fucking mind. It's a Critical Drinker video. I haven't watched a lot of these recently. I'll go ahead and see... I'll show you guys the video. Make sure to give it a like. I totally fucking agree. And imagine all people, yeah, it was so fucking embarrassing. Share the video. Yes, there is the video right there. It's been around, what's this called? Since the 20s, started up in the 50s, happened again. Well, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about right now. Yeah, and let's see here. Can you read her twit longer? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it myself. But fucking videos from the Millionaire Mansion about how we're the problem. Okay, celebrities. Yeah, I think that's the reason why a lot of people really get angry about it. And that's where I think things are going to continue going.